Well, Gabby, once again, Quinn Hughes is making news, and really not this time because of anything that he's done, but rather because of something that someone said on Hockey Night in Canada. Elliot Friedman, in the second intermission, the Saturday Headlines segment with Ron McLean, mentioning that there was a conversation between the Vancouver Canucks and the New Jersey Devils involving Quinn Hughes. Now, Elliot did sort of hint that there was nothing imminent here, but as we all wonder, are the Hughes boys going to all get together in New Jersey and bring another superstar to the Metropolitan Division? Does it feel to you, Gabby, like this is a sort of slow march towards this inevitability that Quinn Hughes joins the New Jersey Devils?
It certainly sounds a little bit like Jim's MO on moving people, throwing it out there before the season starts, and then letting it sift, I guess, and knowing what Quinn wants and knowing where the Canucks are at this stage. I would think, unless there's a real big surprise thrown in there somewhere, and we've seen surprises in the past, it all looks like, his destiny is New Jersey. Now, I don't think it hurts with New Jersey not playing very well right now, being booed in the third period at home the other day. So, it's I think all of those coincide, and eventually something will get done. Will it get done this year? I don't know. In the end, I still think, you're not allowed to sign him till July 1st at all. So you'd have to have a pretty good promise that if you're making a trade and you get Nemec going the other way, and you've got Mercer or whoever, and a pick going the other way, that you're going to have him for 10 years. And I'm sure that's what they would want. Or at least as much as Quinn would say, hey, I want to be there, I want to be with my brothers. Yeah. If I'm Jersey, I'm saying I got to get it locked in before I can make this move, 100%. So, but you know what? Go ahead.
I was going to say that's funny that you mentioned those two names specifically from New Jersey. I was talking to a manager last week in the Metropolitan Division, and we're trying to figure out, okay, what could a Quinn Hughes deal look like between the New Jersey Devils and the Vancouver Canucks? And those were two starter names that I threw out there. And this person stopped me right away and said, hold on a second, no way. If he's coming to the Metropolitan Division, New Jersey better give up more. I want to see Jesper Bratt, at least Jesper Bratt going back the other way. Like, if you're a manager in the Metropolitan Division and there's all this noise about Quinn Hughes joining the division and making New Jersey an even tougher out than they already are, you want something big going back the other way, no?
Well, you certainly would think so. But if this is the best you're going to get, okay, and they've got the whole year, quite frankly, to make this deal until July 1. You don't want to go into next year with the Mitch Marner saga hanging over your head, where you get, Dakota Joshua and you get Michelli in return. Those are the three guys they end up sort of trying to replace Mitch Marner with in Toronto. And that's not working to this point. But I think if you're going to make a splash for probably the second best defenseman on the planet, that from an offensive standpoint, from the defensive spot, you better make it worthwhile and get somebody really good. Because if they get mediocre players in Vancouver, a mediocre team is only going to get worse. And I don't know if anybody, whether it's Patrick Allvin, Jim Rutherford, or the Vancouver Canucks, could survive a really bad trade at this stage.
You know what Vancouver Canucks fans picked up on in Quinn Hughes' post-game comments over the weekend when he was asked about Elliott's report? He said, it wasn't as if I hopped on a call with Jim and Fitzy. And Vancouver Canucks fans went, oh, He's already on a
Oh,
nickname basis with the New Jersey Devils general manager. Is that much ado about nothing, Gabby, or is there some there?
no, 100%, because he lives with his brothers in the off season and he talks to them all the time. And I'm sure his brothers have mentioned Tom Fitzgerald in the past, and they call him Fitzy. Like, I mean,
Yes.
I don't think, even Fitzy's from the New England area. I don't think they're going over there and having dinner in the summer with them. So, I mean, I think it's just whatever. Look, at everybody calls me Gabby. Nobody knows me. Half the people don't know me. So, I mean, I got to believe
Fair.
that's how we picked up on it. But I mean, it's something that Vancouver Canuck, not only media but fans, they pick up on every word, every syllable. How you say that syllable, it means a lot sometimes. So I mean, I'm not putting anything in it, but they've already said that they're going to make moves, and all their veterans are open for trade, the ones that are eligible for it at least. And so every little rumor that's going to come out of Vancouver, you're going to think, okay, when's Quinn going next?
There is no such thing as a small bit of information with this story. Everything is massive. More breadcrumbs, more breadcrumbs, more breadcrumbs. Welcome to the Hockey Lifers, presented by PenFed Credit Union. Great rates for everyone. Okay, welcome back to the podcast. Welcome to another edition of the Hockey Lifers. Jeff Marek alongside Bruce Boudreau. Still to come on today's edition in a couple of moments. You will hear from Paul Bissonnette and Biz Nasty, key panelist on the NHL on TNT. Of course, one of the hosts of the Spit and Chicklets podcast. And for my money, one of, if not the most powerful people in all of hockey media. But before we get there, Gabby, your thoughts on the Jacob Trouba hit on Ryan Leonard this weekend. Now, bad news for Leonard. As Spencer Carberry, Caps head coach, said he is out for an extended period of time. We've seen hits like this before. Like, this is essentially the Colby Armstrong hit. We saw when Colby played, that was one of his calling cards, a player coming out from around the net. Rafi Torres is another player that hit like this. First of all, before we get to Tom Wilson's comments afterwards, did you have a thought on the hit itself?
Yeah, you know what? I saw it in real time, and at first I didn't think it was a headshot at all. I mean, I thought it was it might have went shoulder to head, but I definitely thought it was a blind shot. And he wasn't looking. He was unprepared. And when that happens, a lot of bad things happen. And it's not like Jacob Trouba hasn't done this before. I mean, we've seen it happen before. But at the time when I'm watching it, I didn't think it was a penalty unless they were going to call it for a blind hit. Like, I mean, blindside hit. And but evidently with the way he's injured, you got to believe that there was head contact in the end. So, I mean, I'm a little surprised there was no penalty. Was a little surprised that he didn't have 5 Caps attacking him right away. But I'm sure that one of the things in hockey, I mean, you take the guy's number, and I think that there will be some sort of retribution when the Ducks come flying into Washington in January.
You know, it is interesting. You mentioned, where was the response from the Washington Capitals, and right away you think about Tom Wilson. This is what Tom Wilson had to say about it after the game.
I mean, I don't want to get too much into it. I honestly haven't slowed it down and watched it and analyzed it. I mean, I could see it coming. It's he knows exactly what he's doing. Kid's in a vulnerable spot, and obviously Leno's pretty banged up. So, I mean, I asked him to fight. He said no, and we'll leave it at that.
Okay, so Gabby, I have a theory. Theory about this situation. Now, here's my theory. Perhaps a younger Tom Wilson, perhaps a Tom Wilson from maybe even just a couple of years ago, wouldn't have even asked Jacob Trouba to fight. Would have just gone right at him. You did this to my guy. We're past the point of an invitation. I'm seeking retribution. I'm trying to protect Ryan Leonard. But here's what I wonder about. Tom Wilson's name is very much in the conversation for Team Canada. And one of the criticisms that Tom Wilson has faced is too emotional, too reckless, can't fight in the Olympics. Can he control himself out there? And if he just would have gone at Jacob Trouba, it would have been a protein shake for all the critics who say Tom Wilson doesn't belong in the Olympics because in a highly charged emotional moment, that's what he's capable of doing. Do you agree with me on that one? That perhaps if it were a different time, Tom Wilson just would have gone right at Jacob Trouba?
No, you know what? I can't guarantee anything because I'm not there, but I would venture to guess that the last thing Tom Wilson is thinking during the game is Team Canada. I mean, he's thinking Washington Capitals. And so, I mean, I really think he's matured over the years and knows how to pick his spots so much better. Maybe 8 years ago, he would have done it. And I don't think he's sitting there going, what would Doug Armstrong? I got to do a toe drag here because Doug Armstrong really likes that. I don't think he's thinking, that at all. I think he's just picking his spots, and he's just a much more mature guy. Like, I mean, I think if this did happen in the Olympics and somebody hit his teammate and he was on the ice, I don't think he would think twice about, I'm going to get kicked out if I take this guy and ragdoll him all over the place. I think he's going to go protect his teammate. That's the leader that Tom Wilson is. I don't think Tom Wilson has got that back of my mind. I got to mind my P's and Q's because I want to play for the Canadian Olympic team. And I think he's a shoo-in, quite frankly, especially if the rink is going to be the size of a table hockey game. And, so, I mean, but I would venture to guess that wouldn't be on his mind during the course of a game. I know, like, I was never a fighter, obviously, but I mean, you're not thinking. You're thinking of when the game ends, then you think of stuff. But during the game, it's such a focus on the game. I can tell you a quick story. There's so many times in the American League that we would play cards on the way to the next game. And we wouldn't sleep in those days in the afternoon or whatever. And then we would play cards all the way back. And sometimes the money got up there quite a lot for guys that weren't making a lot of money. And I remember like being down $2,000 on the way there. Nope. And if there was anybody that couldn't afford to lose $2,000, it was me. And I never thought one bit about it during the course of the game. But the minute the game was over, I was sitting in the stall. Can't wait to get back get in the card game. I got to win my money back. So it's during the course of the game. You think of the game. You think of everything about the game. I don't think you think of the ramifications that are going to come afterward.
Here's the other point to it, though. I wonder if that situation is enough to silence critics about Tom Wilson freestyling out there and just taking things into his own hand. You know what I mean? I mean, the criticism has been, Tom Wilson, can't be trusted on the ice. He has this violent side. But the fact that he didn't go at Trouba, and to your point, maybe a younger Tom Wilson does, I wonder how much that silences that type of criticism around Tom Wilson. Like, he had the chance to do it, he didn't do it.
Yeah, but he will do it in the future. I'm telling you right now. I just look at. I think Tom Wilson's a lock to be on this team. I would be absolutely, actually disgusted if he's not chosen to be on this team. And not only do his numbers represent that he belongs, but the size and the strength and the leadership and the fact that the Caps last year were the best team, and this year they're rolling on to be the best team, and he's right there and plays in every situation. Why wouldn't he be on the team? And I don't know. I do know that if we played a Scandinavian team in the first round of the Olympics, all he has to do is skate and warm up, and everybody's going to be doing something in their pants. So, I mean, he doesn't have to do anything. I think his reputation from the past will be good enough for him to play in the Olympics, and he did. But if he played in the Olympics, and he will play in the Olympics, he's going to be a wrecking ball. I'm more worried about the referees not understanding what Tom Wilson is all about than anything else.
Oglethorpe, Gabby, Oglethorpe.
Oglethorpe.
Oglethorpe. One thing really quick here before we get to Paul Bissonnette. I don't want to see it every single night in every single game, but every now and then I love a good goalie battle. Like I love a real good one goaltender looks at the other goaltender 200 feet away and says, I'm not letting one in. And the other goaltender says, I'm not letting one either. We saw that on Sunday with Logan Thompson and Jet Greaves in that Washington-Columbus game. Logan Thompson, 38 saves, gets the shutout, his 100th win in the NHL. Jet Greaves for Columbus was outstanding as well, stopping 36 of 37. He allows an empty net goal. Well, he didn't, but an empty net goal scored by the Washington Capitals. And there was a sequence after Hendrix Lapierre took the 4-minute penalty for high-sticking Brendan Gaunce. Logan Thompson was phenomenal. Like for anybody who may have been on the fence for Team Canada and who's going to be their starting goaltender and who should be the guy, you watch that 4-minute penalty kill and Logan Thompson's performance in it. Do you have a thought on A, goalie battles, and 2, does that, for any doubters, just cement that Logan Thompson has to be on that Olympic team?
Well, first of all, as a fan, I love it. Like I'll tell you how boring my life is that I will sit at home and put on goalie battles on YouTube all the time just because I like watching them. And people say, what are you doing this afternoon? Oh, I'm flicking through YouTube, looking at hockey fights and everything.
Watching saves.
Yeah, not much of a life. But that being said, Logan Thompson was unbelievable. And I mean, I wish this game was everywhere because there's no chance that he's not only on the team, he's the starting goalie on the team. I don't care if you're loyal to Binnington or not. This guy is special. I cannot believe Vegas gave him up. So, I mean, I think he's right now, if he's not in the top 3 goaltenders in the NHL, we can talk about all the Russian goaltenders you want, but Logan Thompson stops everything. And, what has he given up? 6 goals in the last, or 10 goals in the last 6 games or something. I mean, it's a ridiculous number. He's the starting goaltender. Let's put that to bed right now. I'm phoning Doug Armstrong as soon as we get up and say, just make it official right now. Will you please?
Okay, well, you'll need something to do because right now we're going to play the Paul Bissonnette interview. We sat down with Paul last week. So while Gabby calls Doug Armstrong to lobby for Logan Thompson, enjoy this interview. Paul Bissonnette from the NHL on TNT, from the Spit and Chicklets podcast, the most powerful person in hockey media. When Biz speaks, people listen. And amongst the things you'll hear him talk about, Tom Wilson, Olympic rink issues, favorite minor hockey rink, and the big question, Gabby, that you get to right away, did he ever go to your hockey school? Here's Paul Bissonnette on the Hockey Lifers. Okay, Biz, normally the host sort of starts off with a big hard-hitting question here, and welcome to the podcast. Great to have you aboard, pal.
Yeah, hey, great to be here. It's an honor.
So I'm going to surrender the floor to Bruce Boudreau, who has a very razor blade sharp question about the Golden Horseshoe Hockey School. Bruce, over to you.
Hey, I was just thinking today, Biz, did you go to my hockey school?
I never went to your hockey school. When I was going to hockey schools growing up, all the minor hockey league coaches in Welland had their own. So I had to go brown nose and make sure my parents paid to get me in just so I could get a spot in the lineup on the AAA team. Right. So we had the contact hockey school where you learn how to hit. That was with Coach Blanchard. I remember Bob Krolix. Do you remember Bob Krolix?
No.
Okay. He had one there. And then what was the other one that I went to? I was going to something else called IHT with Dan Pleasaniani. That was in Oakville. So I'm sorry I never signed up for yours.
Well, that's okay. That's why you became a tough guy. If you had gone to mine, you would have been sniping goals.
What were you teaching mostly at your school?
How to float.
Okay.
We were just getting the money. And like the school's still going on. It's 43 years now, but I mean, we sort of taught everything. Like, I mean, Wednesdays was hitting days, Monday and Tuesdays, passing, skating, hitting, and then team play for whatever you could do. Like, how you put a lot of, when you're putting on the brochure, you put a lot of things down and you get all these guys that can't even skate. So there's no chance you could do it. and you would put as many people in as you could. If we could get 70 people on the ice, we would have got 70 people on the ice, because it's all about, so when you were playing in the minors, there's not a lot of money to be made. So you have to make money in the summer as much as you can.
So I'm glad I didn't sign up. I wouldn't have been able to get my
you would have
skills
been,
down.
no, you would have been special. You would have been special.
Oh, yeah.
We would have treated you like Dan Girardi.
Yeah. Did he go?
I think he went, yes.
Okay.
And Daniel Paye went. It started in 81, so we had a lot of guys. I mean, I wish I had kept track of all the people from 81, because a lot of guys from the Welland, St. Catharines, Niagara area are all, played hockey.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
all in that age bracket too, like Matt Ellis,
yes.
Andre DeVoe. I don't know if he went, but he was around that age.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a Welland guy. Nathan Horton was from Dunnville, but he played his minor hockey in Welland at a certain point. Cal Clutterbuck.
Cal went for sure, because we've talked about it. Matt Johnson went for sure.
Oh, he was tough as nails. Now, what rink would you be having it at?
We would have had it at the the one in St. Catharines, the old one.
Okay. Where the Falcons played.
They tore it down last year. So, I mean.
No, they didn't. The Junior B barn?
The Junior B barn. It's torn completely down. Now they play it, the 4-pad, the Junior B team, where there's like 1,000 seats on the one side there, and that's it. But
I can understand, but there's not as much character in the fourplex. That's where Brock University plays their home games as well. So they must have built out like a different room for them. But I didn't mind that old barn in St. Catharines, and they actually have a beautiful junior barn for the Ice Dogs. So I'm surprised they don't just share that rink with the Junior B team.
Well, that's where the St. Catharines Saints, when I was playing in the American League, played. And we played, and the dressing room couldn't sit 15 people, yet we'd put 23 in there, and the Leafs weren't exactly overflowing with letting us live in luxury back then. So it was pretty crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You have a favorite like minor hockey rink? Not minor hockey, maybe like minor pro. I mean, going through the minor leagues, is there one that like stands out to you, but you're like, you know what, it wasn't a great rink, but man, I look up at the wooden beams and it looks like an old barn, and I just get like that soap and warm water feeling about playing here. Is there one for you?
There's a few that stand out, and I wouldn't say they were necessarily that fun to play at because of like who our opponents were. Syracuse, where I believe they would say that some of the movie Slapshot was filmed there. Now,
it was.
So it was cool to go there. Unfortunately, they had Zenon Konopka as captain, and Nasty Marasti, Derek Dorsett, Sestito. So when you go in there, it's cool to say you played at the barn that they filmed Slapshot in, or part of it anyway, but then you'd get the wheels beat off you. So that was a cool nostalgic barn. Also, Johnstown, when I was in the ECHL, that was it was one of those like, oh God, you got to go play in Johnstown. It was, we wouldn't go spend the night because it was such an easy shot over. And I always tell the story. One of the games we were going there, we had the booster bus following us, because we had a great booster club with the Wheeling Nailers. And many a times our bus had broke down over the course of my 2 years there. But that one in particular, we're going day of the game. We're on the side of the highway because our bus break down. Next thing you know, the coach and the management and the boosters think of this great idea that we're going to move all the equipment over to the booster bus on the side of the highway, and we're going to take the booster bus to the game, and they're going to wait till ours gets fixed, and then they're going to meet us at the bar. So that was a pretty crazy ordeal. But as far as other rinks that had that old nostalgia, wow.
Hershey
was like, that was like you were playing in the NHL.
Yeah.
Right. That was a state-of-the-art AHL building at the time. And of course, when you're driving in, it smells like chocolate. So you're just salivating, getting fired up for some post-game treats. But you guys always had good teams, Bruce. So they were not easy matchups there. But I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head.
Well, your arena in Wheeling was pretty horrible. But
I liked Wheeling.
I liked the city. Wheeling. Did you like the city?
Wheeling was it holds a very special place in my heart. It was obviously the industry back in the day, it was a thriving city, and then it's not doing so good now because there's not much coal mining going on or any of that business. But it was one of those places like Owen Sound. Like I played Owen Sound. I played against them in junior up until my last year when I was traded there, and you hated going there. It was darkly lit. Like it wasn't lit.
Low ceiling,
and they had good teams. And you're like, oh God, we got to go play there. You'd get the wheels beat off you, and then you'd leave. But the minute I got traded there, I loved playing there because nobody liked coming there. So you had these teams on a tee. So I actually liked Wheeling and Owen Sound for those reasons.
Wow, that's good. And it fits your character, a tough guy in a small building. I think it fits your character really well.
I was also a 2-time ECHL All-Star when I played in Wheeling. So those were the glory days for me.
Wow.
That's the level I had to play at to be an All-Star, Bruce. Okay. Maybe not if I would have went to your goddamn hockey school.
Yeah. Well, then we would have been up there. Hey, here's a question I want to change. Okay. Like you had, you played ECHL, AHL, NHL, but like now you're a star. Okay. What got you to when you were done, okay. And when you were done in Arizona and you sit there and say, what am I going to do now? Or did it morph into it? Were you doing it before you finished? Like I remember you were a pretty popular player in at least your last year in Arizona. And did that popularity sort of morph into what you're doing as a media guy? Because you're as big as they get now.
No, yeah, I don't look at it like that. I just kind of show up every day, and obviously it's evolved into something that I'm proud of, and that's been fun with the podcast, with TNT and everything else. It just kind of evolved from like social media and mainly Twitter, right? And I hopped on that, and then when showing my personality on that app, it started building the following. I started getting more and more opportunities through whether it was Sportsnet would say, hey, would you want to film something with us over All-Star break here? And obviously more away teams, like their media people, would start interviewing me based on what tomfoolery I was getting into on social media. So, and of course the people in Phoenix, like Todd Walsh and Rich Nairn was always a big supporter of mine, and that whole media crew, Tyson Nash, and the list goes on. So I just think from getting those reps and putting myself out there on Twitter, and then it growing that way, was how it kind of evolved. But it was just through that, and the ball started rolling, where eventually when I retired, it was like, well, I got to do something. And I just felt like media was just a natural segue, and figured that I could kind of use my social media as a tool to get me in that position. So yeah, I appreciate the sentiment and the compliments, but I don't really look at it like that. I think that hockey's so great where we just have an awesome community where we're kind of all in it together, like even like media side, everybody. And it's a great niche group.
Let me add some of that. You're probably not going to like this because I know you're pretty humble about all this, but you've heard me say this before. Like, you're the most powerful person in hockey.
That's crazy.
And hang on. And you changed it. You completely changed it. All right. Like here was a hockey player who had a forum and wasn't shy about expressing himself and his personality. And this was his voice. And this became something that no one saw coming. Okay, and it's turned into, you know what, you're on the panel, like you're sitting next to Wayne Gretzky and Henrik Lundqvist and Anson Carter and like Colby Armstrong, like big, huge personalities in the game. Chicklets has always been and will always be a major phenomenon in the industry. But here's what I'm curious about. You've seen a lot of hockey players come and go. Is there anyone that you look at now and say, this guy has the same spirit that I had when I was still playing? Like, is there anyone that you look at in the game now, young kids, maybe end of the career, that you look at and you say, you know what, there's something there? Because like you had a spark, like there was something about you that was unique, that distinguished yourself. Is there anyone you look at in the game now? I don't know, like I love Seth Jarvis interviews. We all love Seth Jarvis interviews.
Yeah.
But like, is there someone that Jack Hughes, like is it someone you look at and you go like, this guy, when it's all done, this guy could have a career here?
Oh yeah, I mean that's an easy answer, Brad Marchand. But it's hard because I was like nowhere near like a playing ability as these guys who I think when they retire that are going to take the next step and join the media frenzy. Like I just think that the way the game's evolving, that we're going to see way more retired players, and especially ones that have a lot of way more credibility than I had as a player, step in and start doing the panel, their own podcast. I mean, look at Matthew Tkachuk and Brady Tkachuk. They just started their own pod. And I just kind of, if you had to pick one guy, I would just say that I think that with his personality and the way and what's been shown is Brad Marchand. I think the minute that he retires, he'll be able to do whatever he wants to do because he has that charisma, that humor, just extremely likable. And once again, like I think that Brad Marchand, by the time it's all said and done, should be like first ballot, might be aggressive, but he's for sure in my mind a Hall of Famer. And I think it's going to be, I think it's a good time for the NHL because when all these guys do start retiring, I feel like there's enough money in media now because maybe there wasn't before, and more also opportunity with Amazon in the mix, Sportsnet, TSN, TNT. You're being able to have your own platform. Other media online outlets too, right? Like Daily Faith. The list goes on and on compared to where 15 years ago you had to get a job with a network and there was no such thing as podcasts. So I know that was a long-winded answer, but I think that there's so many talented guys that are going to end up taking a step into media. Like Eric Johnson just started, and he's he's extremely well liked. John Michael Lyles has gotten in the mix. Jason Demers. Like I could keep going on and on here. Who guys where when you knew them in the locker room, you're like, oh my God, this guy's the funniest guy in the world. But as as hockey players and in the hockey world, we tend to not try to step outside these lines that were kind of put in place, right? It's not about me, it's about the group. But I think that there's room for all of it, and it's not and I think that most people know that like I'm just a clown, and I'm not like it's not like I think I know everything about hockey because I don't.
Well, let's not go that far, but I mean, I agree with you in that when I go to the NHL Network, there seems to be a new, young, retired hockey player there every day. I mean, last week was Patrick Maroon, and then you go the week before. Nate Thompson is now getting into it heavily. So I mean, it seems like if you're a guy that knows the game and you got a personality, and it seems like something to do, but it's not easy. Like yourself, you do it right. Like you're the only guy I know that's ever been in hockey that's been naked in a commercial. That goes.
Well, I had boxers on, but you couldn't see it. Thank God. Thank God.
Hey,
You would have needed your microscope.
Were they doing that separately? Shower. That they did you in the shower and then they cut to the people, or were they watching you in the shower?
No, they were in there. They were in there. I had my boxers on though, Bruce. Come on, man. We're not method acting here. Right? And here's another thing too. It's like what's great about all these different networks and different guys coming in, like new guys or retired guys, is like, what's the one thing that we always fall back on as far as hockey guys in the hockey community? The stories.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not individually, I'm not going to remember or know like a quarter of them. Right. You need all these different guys coming on, talking about their experiences with Alex Ovechkin and coaching him, and, going back to when you played and the story with this guy. And then the same goes for all those guys we just mentioned. Like they're going to be able to bring something to the table and a personal story that they got to experience with. I mean, I just mentioned Jason Demers, like he played with Joe Thornton. How many jumbo stories you got?
Yeah.
You said Nate Thompson. He played in, how many different stops did he stop out? He got to play with all the greats in all those different cities. So it's really cool that people are getting the exposure of all these different hockey personalities. And I think that, especially after an Olympic year, if they actually end up playing over there in Italy, for crying out loud, because that barn's not even done. I think that the NHL is on a rocket ship right now, and it's heading to the moon, baby.
You know what? It's 100% true, and the media now around hockey is more vibrant than it's ever been. And and Bruce has been around even longer than me, but it's never been this vibrant. You mentioned the Olympics. Let me ask you about one player specifically. You know, if the rink is going to be 3 or 4 feet shorter, it's going to be like the old Buffalo Memorial Auditorium is what it's going to be like. And as a Welland boy, I'm sure you spent a lot of nights at the old Odd. What do you think of Tom Wilson? Like every time the Caps play, he's scoring a goal. There's the big hits are still there. The physicality's still there, killing penalties, all of it. Always been a good skater. Where's Paul Bissonnette at with Tom Wilson in the Olympics?
If he doesn't play for Team Canada, I'll be rooting for the U.S. That's where I'm at with that. Like we were joking around today. We just finished recording for tomorrow's pod that drops, and Jans is like, he talked about the shorter rink specifically. He's like, could you imagine being a Denmark defenseman going back for a loose puck, or a German defenseman? You're not even playing in the NHL, and all of a sudden Tom Wilson's breathing down your neck. It's apparently they're taking it out of the neutral zone, is what I'm understanding. But I think that he has completely earned the right to represent his country. Jans did also say I would put money on him not finishing the tournament, as far as potential suspension, because they tend to referee a little differently in the double IHF. But I think that Team Canada has some very difficult decisions to make. Tom Wilson is 1,000% on my team, as well as, I mean, man, like when the season started, I would have said no for Connor Bedard, because I'm like, I don't know if he can play the wing. He has at the World Junior, and I believe he did at World Championship a few years ago, if I remember reading correctly. But he's completely earned the right to play on Team Canada, and I think you'd be silly not to pick him now at this point. So I do not envy the decision making for that group of coaches and personnel for Team Canada.
Well, you can't go wrong, and you can't be right, because there's going to be people left off that you're going to complain about, and there's going to be people that are on you're saying, how could they beat this guy? So it's going to be crazy. But when you're talking about the rink being 4 feet shorter, all I think of is Binghamton. Is that rink was so small. You must have played there, right? Oh my
God. That what? That was one that I forgot to mention, but I also used to get the kicked out of me there too. Because they had Jeremy
the neutral
Yablonski.
Zone, and Shane Churla. I remember when we were there.
Cement boards.
And like Ty Domi was there in the minors when I was playing there. But anyway, that's a story of a different day. Like the whole Olympic thing. I mean, like, does it frustrate you when, like, I read the other day and it said, well, we don't have a plan B if the rink's not ready. How can you not have a plan B?
It's insane.
Like
I got a plan B.
Yeah.
Bring it over to North America.
What's your plan B?
Bring it over to North America. Get the maybe the IOC, they're very stubborn, right? They're very hard to deal with.
Yeah.
If this rink is not ready. And another thing that we talked about on today's pod, and Jans brought up, it's like, they might have they normally have like a game a year out to like test it, right? So obviously we're way beyond that. But in some cases, there's multiple games being played with the heaviest, biggest guys who are hardest on their edges in the world. So is it even really being tested to its max? I say you scrap it and you say, we're doing it over here in North America. We're trying to grow the game over here, especially in the United States. All anybody wanted to talk about after Four Nations was Team Canada and Team USA. What better opportunity to showcase the talent that the hockey world has in not only obviously Canada knows, but the United States, and get that thing fired up over here, doing it in places like Minnesota who deserve it. It would obviously be hard to do MSG because I'm sure it's booked out way in advance, but there's enough places I'm sure in North America where they could be host cities, and let's get this thing cranking over here on our time zone for the people who appreciate it the most. And that's not taking anything away from the Scandinavian countries, the Swedens and the Finlands. I'm sure they would very much understand. And it's not even that much of a time difference. They're probably just happy that their players are going to be playing in the Olympics best on best for the first time in 12 years. You can't mess this up. It's the first time in 12 years we're getting best on best at the Olympics. You can't mess this up.
I agree with you 100%, but like, here's the thing that I worry about is, okay, the arena's set, and then all of a sudden in the first day, the ice cracks in half and they've got no backup plan. Like,
No backup.
it makes no sense. I can imagine, like, up front, it's going to look really nice when they got the cameras in there before anybody's on the ice. The dressing rooms will be half done, and nothing else will be. The
brutal.
concession stands won't be ready. Nothing will be ready, and they're going to go at the Olympics, which is hockey is the biggest event.
There you go.
In the Winter Olympics, and you're going to have it half-assed. I can't even imagine it not succeeding with the money that's being pushed into this thing, and yet to go on a I hope type thing. It's like passing the puck from behind the net, blind. You're going, I'm doing a I hope pass, and it's not going to work. It's just going to be horrible.
The attention to detail, and you just said it. Like, I think that worldwide, I think figure skating leads the charge at the Olympics, just because of the interest of the world. But I would say, as far as the quality of play and what you're watching, hockey is definitely in the top 3 Winter Olympic sports. And the fact that they've left it to this last minute, it's just a slap in the face to hockey, in my opinion. And I think that the NHL and the PA need to take a strong stance here and say, no, we can handle this ourselves. And I don't even think that the NHL guys are going to be able to participate in the opening and closing ceremonies. I think that's something that they don't get to, just based on the scheduling of the NHL. And by the time they end up getting over there, and it sucks that they won't get to experience the village and all the things that the Olympics has to offer. But at this point, man, you have a conversation within, and you're like, I would just do this over here. And if the IOC is like, oh, like, absolutely not, we're in control of this, I think you give them the double barrel and say, we're just going to go do our own best on best. And essentially it is the Olympics, but maybe you're not getting the same gold medal. What was your guys' second plan? Like, what would you guys say?
Well, my second plan would be, listen, there's an Italian hockey league. They all got to have rinks.
I know, but Bruce, like, think about the gate. Like, how big are these arenas? You're gonna have a gold medal game, and there's gonna be 3,500 people in the building. Like,
no, but wasn't the Olympics in Italy not too long ago where they had hockey? They have to have a 10,000 seat arena.
Apparently, Lugano is an hour and a half away, or maybe not, and they've already said no, it's not happening. So I don't know what the size or their situation is, but the fact that we're even here, like, okay, would you go do it in a place like Sweden or
that's
Finland?
mine, Biz. That's mine. If you need, and again, like, it's not the best of all possible fallbacks, and it's got to scramble to get there. But to me, okay, you can't do it. Fine, Sweden, right there, everything, beautiful country, wonderful people, great hockey culture.
But now you're doing it on Olympic ice. Then that you said
that affects your that'll affect like how you're going to play, and then you think back to like, oh, the decisions we made were based on the 200 by 85, not the international surface. You're right.
And I just think that the NHL and its players and the PA have earned the right to control that aspect of it and keep the gate and put it into more resources that the NHL and North America's game can thrive off of.
Wow, I think you're correct in all of those things. And I never even thought of the last couple things we were just talking about. I'm just thinking about, is the ice going to be there? Where would we play if we couldn't do it? But it would be such a knock on hockey. Hey, like, I mean, wouldn't it be a shot? And it would be a shot
knock on who, though?
Pardon me?
Like, on who, though? You're saying, like, on the sport, you're saying?
Yeah, like, I mean, okay, we can't have the sport now because there's no ice there. Wouldn't that be?
I think that falls all on in Italy and the IOC and the way that they've handled this. I don't think that has anything to do. We're the NHL is lending out their resources for the IOC and the Olympics to gain financial gain at no cost. So that, to me, is like, that's on them. They fumbled the bag. They had 4 years to worry about this. And I know that the Italians, they like their lunch breaks, but I mean, come on, 4-hour espresso. Come on here. Let's get going.
The thing is, hockey gets caught up in it. Like, I agree with you, Biz. Like, none of it falls on hockey. But again, hockey gets caught up in it. And that's the part that sucks. That's the part that really sucks.
I think that I think they could change this into the biggest positive. Where are you concerned the most if you're Gary Bettman about the game growing? The United States.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you all of them would sign off on that. Obviously, it goes back to a lot of them who have never gotten to experience the Olympics. they would lose out on that feeling, and that would suck. It would. And I understand that. But for the consistency and knowing exactly what type of ice and buildings you're going to be playing in, and getting, imagine a gold medal game at the Bell Center. Oh. Could you imagine that?
On a Saturday night?
Could you imagine? It would be the Four Nations on steroids and any other performance enhancing drug you could think of. So I am actually hoping for that.
Wow. Okay. It would be great to see. That's for sure.
Sorry, I got so passionate, boys.
No, it's great. Like I'm going to add another sentence to your business card here. Our guest has been a panelist on TNT. He's one of the hosts of Spittin' Chicklets, and he is the next president of the International Ice Hockey Federation.
Oh yeah,
Paul Bissonnette. Thanks, pal. We'll talk soon.
We're not going to have any referees left either. I'm going to be canning those guys.
That's a good point.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on, boys, and looking forward to coming on again.
Thanks,
All right,
Paul.
Biz, it's great talking to you.
Yep. Love you, boys.
Yeah.
Okay, that was Paul Bissonnette, Biz Nasty from the NHL on TNT and the Spittin' Chicklets podcast. Now, after we recorded that, Gabby, I believe you ran into Biz at NHL Network. True?
Yeah, it was surprising. I haven't seen Biz, since I talked to him on Spittin' Chicklets, and all of a sudden the next day I'm at the NHL Network and he's at the NHL Network, and he said he really enjoyed the chat. And the one thing about Biz is you're getting him. You're not getting any manufactured, I'm on a podcast, I got to watch my P's and Q's. He is just saying it like it is, whether it's right or whether it's wrong. He's just throwing out his 2 cents. And I really appreciate that with him, but he really loved doing it. He said he wants to come back. I mean, we're going to hold him to it, and we're going to get into some really good stories the next time.
There's a lot of stuff we left on the table by way of time, but nonetheless, Biz will be back, and we'll get more into other issues, hockey and Paul Bissonnette. One thing, and we thank Paul for making himself available this week. Thanks so much, Biz. Something interesting happened over the weekend between the Los Angeles Kings and the Chicago Blackhawks. They played 2 games in LA. Chicago went to LA and played 2 games. Now, Gabby, I thought, because we saw this during the pandemic, I thought that one of the things coming out of the pandemic that we would see in the NHL was teams traveling and not playing 1 game, but playing 2. Reduce wear and tear, reduce travel, save some dollars along the way. We've seen situations where you build up animosity in game 1 and then you don't play the team again for 3 more months and it all sort of fades away. A way to build up a mini sort of weekend rivalry. I kind of thought we were going to see more of this coming out of the pandemic. If you, Gabby, Bruce Boudreau, if all of a sudden, boom, I make you Steve Hatzapetros for 1 day. That's the guy that makes the schedule for the NHL. If, Gabby, you're Steve Hatzapetros today, are we seeing teams play each other more than once at a time? Are we seeing teams going in and playing twice?
Now I'm hearing this, from you for the first time. And my first reaction is, I don't think so. I think when you see a team, it's bad enough, I think, if a Western team plays an Eastern team, they usually do a home and home within a week, and then they're gone for the year. I would like to see the transformation of they play a team early, they play a team late. Say if Bedard was hurt and nobody in LA would get a chance to see him for a whole year, right? I mean, then at least if it was 2 months later, his injury wouldn't be, he would probably be healthy enough to play. But I mean, if this was going to be something to take place, they still have to do a Western trip. I'm thinking Chicago. I would want to play back-to-back with LA, back-to-back with Anaheim, and then the next trip maybe back-to-back with San Jose and back-to-back with Seattle. That would sort of end that season of travel, I think. But I mean, I sort of don't like it as much, even though if I was the better team and I was hitting a team with a lot of injuries at the right time, I'm going, okay, this is 4 points. This is an easy thing. So, I mean, these are my thoughts right off the top of my head. I'm sure that there might be different thoughts in an hour.
I'm I'm curious. Like, talk to us as a player. Like, to me, this makes a lot of sense for NHL players to reduce travel, wear and tear on the body, all of it. If you're an
Mhm.
NHL player, are you not for more situations like this we just saw
Well,
between the Kings and the Hawks?
if I was a player, it probably would be, because instead of getting after the game, rushing, getting to the airport, going somewhere
Yes.
else for a game the next day, yeah, you just like, I mean, if we're talking LA specific, I mean, they're a block and a half from the hotel. I mean, they set up a good meal, get a good rest, and you know what? And whatever happened the night before, you know, you've got a good chance to. Um, finish the next day. Like, in other words, to make adjustments the next day and everything else. So, I mean, from a player standpoint, I kind of think I would like it if it would lessen travel, because I think I said it on one show. I said, when I went from Washington to Anaheim, and at the end of the year, somebody asked me, and I said, I think the Western teams on the West Coast should start with 10 points and then go from there, because I think it's so much tougher. Seriously, I mean, with
Yeah.
the travel and everything else that goes into this thing, I mean, the wear and tear on your body, the less practice time you have if you're a Western team, I think it would help.
Everybody in the Dallas Stars organization is now going to send you a Christmas card, Gabby, because you talk about tough travel, man. The Dallas Stars are right up there. Meanwhile, everybody in New Jersey is saying, like, nope, the travel is great. Travel is perfect just the way we have it now.
Yeah, they like it a lot. Like when your road trips are New York and New York, and then
Philadelphia.
I gotta go to Philly the next day. I mean, and then you come home and say, yeah, we've just had a tough 3 or 4 going, and then Washington. They're all in the same corridor. We used to be home by midnight on those road games. I mean,
Yeah.
in just getting the plane, but the longest part of it was the drive home from Dulles to your house.
Yeah.
That was the longest part of the trips there. So I mean, that's why when I went from Washington to Anaheim, I'm going, wow, this is a change right there.
All right, let's get into our Hey Gabby segment. So for your chance to ask Gabby a question on social media, specifically Twitter X, use the hashtag Hey Gabby. This comes to us from Nancy Davidson, and Gabby, I love this question. And I think it would have been 1967 for you, but let's see.
Feed me, Seymour. Let's go.
Nancy Davidson submits, would love to hear Gabby's memories of playing in the Quebec International Pee Wee Tournament. Gabby?
You know what? Up to junior hockey, it was the greatest moment of your life if you're a 12-year-old kid. And like, if people from this podcast don't know, it's the biggest hockey tournament for peewees in the world, and it's got from everywhere. But in '67, it was still a huge event. I remember we lost in the finals there's the grand finals of teams from cities with X amount of people and everything else.
Yep.
We lost to a team from Toronto. It was called Dorset Park, and we lost 5-4. And I remember having a breakaway in the last minute, but my garter belt that held my socks up broke, and my shin pads were falling out of my pants, and I missed the net or something. But I used to, I got so mad. And you know what? We used to, every player that goes to that tournament is billeted out by a Quebec family. And 9 times out of 10, you don't know their language, they don't know your language, but you get by and you end up making friends. And the other thing I remember distinctly about that tournament, anyway, we lost the finals 5-4, but we played that same team in the Toronto finals that year, and we beat them 10-0, 10-1. So it's amazing how emotion can go to you. The other thing that back in those days, in 1967, you could smoke in the arena. Now you have to understand, Quebec is noted. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You could not see above the glass. The smoke was so filled from the smoke. If you were, and there was 10,000 people in the building, you could not see the rink, and you could, all of a sudden you'd hear a cheer and somebody scored. But we used to have to come back off the bench as a 12-year-old, and we'd have nothing but wet towels, and we would just breathe into the wet towels, that were soaked in water, just so we could get some real oxygen. It was pretty crazy, but the memory still is amazing. I still got the 45 that you get when you're there. You remember going tobogganing. You remember the ice houses in Quebec. It's one of the greatest memories a kid can have when you're a young hockey player before you get into real serious stuff.
I just love it. Nancy, great question. Gabby, great answer. I could hear stories about the Quebec International Pee Wee Tournament forever and ever, and there have been some amazing performances. I was trying to find, over the last 24 hours, Gabby, trying to find like any video from 67 or even game sheets or any stats. Like there are some stats that are kept, but none of it has popped up online.
Well, if I hadn't known earlier, there's a guy in Hershey that I didn't realize at the time, and he's a good buddy of mine. But he played in the same tournament, okay, and the same year.
Oh wow!
And he brought a program back, and so I was sifting through. This must have been 6 months ago. Sifting through the program and looking at players to see how many of the guys made it. And I think there was 4 to 6 players made it in the NHL at that time. And so you're playing, I think there was Marty Howe were in it. But there was a lot of good French hockey players that were in it. But I mean, it was pretty amazing that you get this program and you're reading through what all these players in 1967, and it's bringing back great memories.
I just love it. Stuff like that is catnip for a guy like me, Gabby. Stuff like that is catnip.
You realize that was Canada's centennial, by the way. It was the 100th.
That was 67.
Year.
Yes.
It was the birthday of Canada. So it was a pretty special tournament.
That was that was a wonderful one. It's always part of the big celebrations every year. I'm glad you talked about, ice houses and tobogganing, because there's the tournament, which everybody comes for, but there's everything else around it. Like you're right, that makes it one of the best experiences a 12-year-old kid and their family can have. It's an historic, obviously, and just such a glorious event. Nancy, thanks for the question. Okay, let's finish with this one for story time. We're going to go off the menu, so we're not talking about hockey. Gabby, here's what I want a story about. Bruce Boudreau, I want you to share the story of your earliest memories of seeing professional wrestling.
Oh, okay. Well, again, interesting question, but it was always at Maple Leaf Gardens. And when you played for the Marlies, and they were from U8s or whatever they called them now to U16s. You used to get free entrance into some of these events if you played for the Marlies. So we used to go every Sunday night that wrestling was on, and we'd get to see, like back then, they treated the bad guys like crap, and they would throw stuff at them, and you really got to hate them. I mean, the Sheik and Sweet Daddy Siki and Bobo Brazil and all of these guys. And I mean, the funny thing is, when my first camp in Toronto, you know how you have your strength trainer nowadays and everything else. Our strength trainer was this guy named Freddie Atkins, who was the referee at all the wrestling matches. And so we would sit there and I'd go, Freddie, after I do my 6 push-ups that you want me to do, let me come and tell me about what's this guy like? What's that guy like? But I mean, it was, And again, back in the early 70s when we'd go there, I mean, again, the room was full of smoke, and I mean, it was not the wrestling that you see now. There was no high flyers. It was just there. Give me a secret weapon, and I'm going to beat you over the head with it until you can't walk anymore. But let me, onto that question. Let me tell you the best match I've ever seen. Okay,
sure.
And I think people will have seen this because it's been on YouTube so many times. But when I was in Fort Wayne, they had WWE come into town. Okay. And so I got tickets for my Crystal, who was my girlfriend at the time, and all 3 kids. We got front row tickets, and the place was jammed.
Awesome.
And for a match, Jake the Snake Roberts against Macho Man. Okay. And this was when the snake was brought out, and you've seen it where the snake is actually biting his arm right in front of us. Like we're right there, and he's biting. He's got the snake is good, and you're seeing blood come out of Macho Man's arm. And I've got Andy on my shoulders, and he's crying his eyes out. Casey's crying her eyes out right beside me. Ben's going whoo 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 like this, but I mean it was. And I've seen that match so many times on highlight films, and we're right there in the front row. And I just, that's when I said, wow, this stuff is cool.
That's that. Now, can you see yourself on the video in the front row? Can you see the family? Can you see the kids?
I think we're on the other, we're behind him, because they're showing it from this, the one side when he's on the ropes, and we're on the other side watching it. But we were standing up, and it was pretty cool.
That's fantastic. All right. Listen, those old days, because I used to go to wrestling at the Gardens too. And it was like once a month, Honey would run on the Saturday nights when the Maple Leafs weren't playing. But Sundays, you're right. Sundays was for the Sheik and his promotion. You mentioned Bobo Brazil. Sheik's real name was Eddie Farhat, served in the U.S. Army, fought in World War II, but had this gimmick. And you mentioned foreign objects. He had the pencil he would stab you with. He had the fireball that he would throw at guys. The matches would only be about 5 minutes, but it was just, and the ring entrances would be like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But you're right. It was just like he hit the ring, Eddie hit the ring, pure chaos. And honestly, I would see him later. I remember going to a match at Lakeshore Lions Arena in the west end of Toronto in Etobicoke, which used to be the Toronto Maple Leafs practice facility, where they used to practice and have their training camps. And I've never seen this before. People legitimately terrified of him. It was like everyone else was a wrestler, was all fun, but everybody was terrified of the Sheik. He would just look at you, and fans would like back off.
Well, he was
going to do something crazy
all the time. Yeah, he was always in character. It was perfect.
Yes,
and that's a pretty good segue what you're getting into. And I'm not going to say the name of the next guest, but it's going to be a wrestling hockey guest, I think.
Yes,
and
nice little
crossover. It's going to be a crossover thing, and so I think it's going to be really exciting next week.
I can't wait. Two loves coming together. Your chocolates and my peanut butter right here on the Hockey Lifers. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you in 7 days.